Hello YouTube. Today's project is servicing my Spyder. We're going on a week and a half long ride next week. I am also changing to Amsoil metric 10W40. I ordered BajaRons high flow kit with O-rings and plug washers. And I am also going to replace my Hcm filter and my fuel filter, which is a Wix 33095. I'll put links in the description for all this stuff. I'm almost at 26,000 miles. Here we go. So parts needed are T45 Torx and a 6mm Allen wrench. And it's important when you're picking the tools you're going to use for these plugs to have a good plug or a good bit, one that will go fully into the plug, whether it's the Allen head or the hex or the Torx. If I remember right, the last time I serviced it, my Torx head was a little chewed up on the inside, so if it looks at all iffy, I'm gonna replace it. The reason it's running, I took it on about a 10-mile ride this morning to get everything stirred up. I'm changing Amsoil, so I want this really clean when I drain it. So that's why it was running. And we will check the air filter, because you really should do that every time you service it. You don't know how many leaves or bugs or whatever have made their way in around that thing. So there's the plug. Can you see it? So you make sure you're in there all the way, and don't tentatively try loosening this, because it'll just kind of snap free. So just breaking it loose, it's already draining a little bit. I'm going to, what we're trying to avoid is oil getting up into this drain pan here. So if we just let it peter out kind of slow, hopefully we'll avoid that. I didn't shove rags around that thing. That'll work. Okay, now we'll go over and get the tranny side draining. See how far that Allen wrench goes up into there? So if you don't get a good perch on it, or maybe, you know, there's some grime that got up in there, just make sure you're, you know, if it doesn't go up in there like quite a ways, get a pick tool or a little screwdriver and clean that out in there. Same way on this side. Don't be tentative about breaking it loose. I will stick a rag around this thing. That oil is hot. There's a few little burrs on the magnet. Not bad though, no chunks. Oh, see. I'm getting it in the pan. There we go. And since I am going with Amsoil, I'm going to let this thing drain really good. Okay, I snugged that motor drain plug down a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and put regs in so I can speed up this process. There we go. And part of the objective of getting it warmed up and getting all the gunk suspended is so you can get rid of it and not let it sit there and settle to the bottom of the crankcase because it's draining so slow. Also a good time to peek at your front pulley or your front sprocket. Make sure there's no dust starting around it anywhere. And I literally do that not only when I service it, but when I do anything to it, or it's actually part of my pre-trip inspection to make sure everything's kosher, because that'd put you in a bind real quick if you didn't catch that and then your sprocket stripped out. I'm going to pause the video and we'll let this finish draining here. And while that's still draining, I'm just going to pull some panels off. So we need access to here to get to the oil filter. So we're gonna have to take this audible cover loose. In order to get that loose, normally you really wouldn't have to take this out, but I'm gonna have to take this out anyway to get to the HCM filter. So we'll do that. Oh, I forgot that little short one. Can't ever do a job without forgetting one of them. Go ahead and pull this cover loose here. Oil filter housing. Pull this side loose here so I can get to the air filter and check it. And then we'll pull this cover loose. And this side, I'm not going to take it off. I'm just going to pull this push pin. And I think we can get this out without going to too much work. Maybe. Yeah. Having one of these T30s with the ball end on it is really handy. Yeah, she's a little bugged up. So I'll vacuum that out. And we'll knock this clean. Wiping off that mating surface where the filter seals to the air box. I'm gonna browse through the book and just make sure I know what I'm doing here with the HCM filter. Here's the HCM filter. And the book says you need to replace or remove all these body panels, including this one, and of course this one's gonna have to come out. And it says this one needs removed, but we'll see what it looks like once I get this stuff off. So here we go. We'll get this thing off of here. And there's a couple push pins on the bottom of it. And then this has a push pin here. I need to release this. Let's see if I can make room. Looks like you can shoot in there. Well, I thought maybe. So that long one was the rear, and these two are, oh geez. That is an Allen head. Was these? Yep. So when I put this back together, I'll get the right bit. Let's see if I can get this out of here now. Might have to pull this thing out, the foot peg off, or the highway peg. We'll see. I'm gonna get that off there. And just get it out of the way. Yeah, so this frame is right in the way of that bottom bolt on the left side. I'm wondering if I couldn't just loosen this, maybe this one, and this bolt here for the highway peg, and just get access, kind of swing it out of the way. Oh, I think that might do it. Oh yeah, that'll definitely do it. All I gotta make sure I have room for. Come on, get out of there. What is going on? There we go. Let's get this out of the way. That'll be fun getting it weeded back in there. But we'll get it. Okay. So this does not have to come all the way off. Alright. We'll do a little compressed air clean job here. These three that held this lower rear body panel, whatever that one's called, are 5mm. The HCM is 8mm or a Torx, but we'll just use the 8mm. So now I need some rags to keep the mess down. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna lay these bolts out in order till I know they're all the same lengths. Looks like they are so far. So I've got just under 26,000 miles on this. And we're going on a trip next week, and I'm kind of due for a service anyway, changing to Amsoil. So I wanted to do the complete, get as much of the old oil out as I could. I am going to try to get the fuel filter changed here also. You know, part of the 28,000 mile service is also spark plugs. But everything I've read, I haven't read of anyone changing their spark plugs at 28,000 miles and saying, yep, they needed it. So I'm going to wait a while for that. I've got them already. So I will do a video on spark plug changeage when the time comes. So, yeah. Now we'll see how big of a mess I'm going to make here. Got some extra rags ready. Not too bad at all, actually. Gasket out. And we'll make it all clean. I ordered this filter through BajaRons, well as the oil changing kits. I got the Amsoil local, but you can get it through BajaRons also. I got it from a buddy of mine. The procedure does say to do the procedure in buds venting after you change this, but BajaRons said he's never had anybody have any troubles. I do have buds, but I know everybody else doesn't, or most people don't. So, and most people that are watching this and are going to do it don't have buds. So I'm not going to do that procedure in buds. I'm just going to do it just like everybody else would here. And everybody, or 99% of the people that watch this and want to do it. So, well, let's see what happens. O-ring's on. And the old O-ring came off with the other filter, so pretty straightforward here. All these bolts are the same. And I'll show you the tightening procedure and diagram out of the book in the torque spec. There was no like thread sealer on these bolts, so there's not going to be any going back together. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute, get to that page in the book, and I'll be right back. Hcm Oil Filter Installation. Here is the bolt pattern, or the tightening sequence. So top left, bottom right, top right, bottom left, and then top and bottom middle. 97 inch-pounds, plus or minus 9. We're at 97 inch-pounds on my torque wrench. So here we go. Start with top left. I am just going to make them snug first. Start over, make them a little more snug. No, I almost went out of sequence. Okay, here we go. And then the top and the bottom. I'll do it one more time. Top left, bottom right, top right. Really good at dropping stuff today. Okay, top right, bottom left, top middle, and bottom middle. Okay, pull this out of here. And before I pull those rags out, I'm gonna spray the oil off of that little wiring harness with a little carb cleaner. Just gonna wipe the bottom of this down. What I'm probably gonna do, well, I am gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of this. We'll get the oil filter changed, get the plugs back in, and then I'm gonna start it up. Well, add oil, then I'm gonna start it up, let it run for a while till the cooling fans come on. I'm gonna leave all this off till I know I don't have any leaks going on. So I'll be back when I have the filter ready to go here. 36 millimeter, and this is a socket I bought at O'Reilly's, and it's like a 6.0 Ford diesel fuel filter socket. It was like 10 bucks or 12 something. Also works on the rear axle nuts, which is handy. Try to keep the oil drips to a minimum here. At least on the bike. No chunks is good. I'm gonna soak up that little bit of oil that's in the bottom of this oil filter canister. While that's soaking up, we'll put some O-rings on this thing. And I did look at my plug, and this isn't the one that was chewed up a little. It must have been a friend of mine's. When I serviced his, I wasn't remembering mine apparently. And just make sure everything's clean. Put the bigger one on. Actually, put the little one on first. And the bigger one I'll roll over it. The smaller diameter O-rings are for the oil filter cover. Get on there. There we go. Okay, let's see. Just to make sure they don't get dinged as it's going together here. Two cracks. Perfect. Okay, I am going to clean up all this junk and I'll get my plugs ready to go back in here. I got the plugs oiled up a little, ready to go in, and the engine side plug, the one with all the O-rings, is 21 foot-pounds of torque. The transmission side is 15 foot-pounds, which is the very bottom of this torque wrench. So 15 times 12 is 180. So I've got my inch-pound set for 15 foot-pounds of torque for the tranny side. So here we go. One thing to check, where's my other one, is that the mating surface is spotless. So we're making sure there's no like debris or piece of gravel, anything that's gonna score into that thing when we tighten this up. $21. Make sure it's all the way in. You don't want to strip that thing out. There we go. If I can get my rags out. Okay. Get the other side. And same thing over here. Make sure this is all perfectly clean. $180. Little carburetor cleaner. Alright, now we'll get some oil in this thing. So the book says with the transmission HCM filter change, it's 5.9 quarts. So I got 5 in there. I'm going to put maybe a little under half a quart in and call that good for oil until I run it and actually check it. So next thing before I start it up is this fuel filter. So I need to take, I'll show you. The shop manual shows, it says it's a half a quart between min and max, so we'll look at that after I run it. For the fuel filter, it says remove these 2 bolts, and it removes this little mount that it must be zip tied to. I'm pretty sure, because I looked up the part like on cheapcycleparts.com, and they want like 27 bucks for a fuel filter. So I looked it up online and finally found a picture of a Wix, and it has the part number on it. So I just ordered a Wix filter off Amazon for like $7. So let's get that thing loose off of there. This is a ground strap for this fuel filter mount to the tank. There's another, the tank has a ground strap back here also that actually goes up to the frame. And the bolt's trying to turn on me. See if I can hold it with my finger. If not, I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. Looks like it's a little stubby T30. I'd really like to get it out of there before I drop it. There we go. Yep. Now, it looks like I'm gonna need to cut a zip tie. And that's the clamp that actually holds the filter. And there's like a T in the line. It must be for like a return. So the fuel pump pumps through the filter this direction up to the fuel injector rail. And I'm not sure how I'm going to get that Oetiker clamp busted loose. If I can get this moved out. Oh, that looks a little better. This must be the release for the frunk. There we go. All right, I'm going to grab my air nozzle and blow that out. Keep the dust out of there. Get all this grime off of this thing. Wix 33095. And if I remember, I'll put that part number in the description or an Amazon link or something. The book says to release the fuel pressure before you do this, but I'm not going to. So continue at your own risk. It said to like run it and then like pull the relay or the fuse or something for the fuel pump and just let it run till it dies. But we're not going to do that. Unfortunately, these things are ruined when you remove them. But, so rather than use small screw hose clamps. I ordered this set off Amazon. So they're not Oetiker brand, but pretty sure we're gonna have one here that fits it. And I already had an Oetiker plier, so that's what we'll use. Okay, I'm gonna gently get this off of here. See how much fuel sprays out of here. None sprayed, so that's good. And we're going to compare the fuel filter with the new one. So most of the time when you change fuel filters, you can knock crud out of them. And this is no crud there, perfectly clean. Okay, fuel direction, the arrow that way. Looks to me like exactly the same size. So now I just need to get the right size clamp on here, which I think is that. Yep. So this one there. And I will link to this kit. We'll see how they clamp together, but I'll link to this. It's an Amazon thing I bought. It was like 20 bucks for that whole kit, different sizes. Okay, in direction that way. Oh yeah, that clamps on there good. Not a real Oetiker fan, but they sure work good. Mostly I'm not a fan when I'm having to rip them off. Okay. She's on there pretty solid. I'm going to turn the key on and let the fuel pump pressurize. Make sure we don't have any leaking. Well, it pressurized, obviously. Do it again, just with the kill switch. And again. No leaks. Okay, that's good. Now, I need to get this fished back in there the way it was. Get rid of this zip tie and get another one in there ready, and then we'll put this back together. And while it's kind of loose, I'm gonna put this little short bolt back in here. Make sure that clamp is actually over the body of the fuel filter. And we'll start that back on. What was I using? Okay. Oh, this clamp was in front of this thing. What am I doing? Like that. And we've got bolt, grounding washer, that's not near as hard as I thought it was going to be. When I first saw where that fuel filter was, I thought, how in the world are you going to get that out of there? Then I read the book, and it's actually pretty simple. Okay, get this zip tie back on there. There, fuel filter done. So now I'm gonna fire it up and run it for a while, let it warm up, and make sure I have no leaking going on. So I'll be back in just a little bit. It's been warming up for a little while. I'm just checking for leaks. No drips on the Hcm filter. No drips on the transmission. And no drips on the motor. So I'll put this back together, and then I'm going to take it for a little ride and warm it up, make sure all the transmission works, is all bled out, and then check the oil. So now I'll see if I can get this thing back in here. How did I do that? I think I was like this. Okay, step one, I got that behind there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I need to leave this loose until I get my what else did I have loose? Yeah, I think it was just this one. So I'm gonna get this on there. And then tighten this up. Okay. Now we'll get this started back in. And we'll get these. And these are 5mm. T30 Torx will take them out, but definitely not what it was designed for. Just keep them all a little bit loose here. It's actually easier to get to than it was with a bit and an extension. Not like they have to be super tight. All they're holding is this plastic piece on, so tight enough not to come off. Okay, and then this guy, which is a little bit weird getting it fit in there, because this has to be in front. We got that one and this one. Okay. Now, this piece. And this has these plastic just hooks that just hook over the this piece. So just make sure you get it. Slide these right behind, and then kind of just set it down onto that one. And it's in there, so then we'll sneak that in. So with the highway pegs here, the easiest way to do this is to get these bottom ones in first and then get these up where they need to be. I really fought with that when I installed those things. I wasn't very happy, but we got it. Because with that highway peg bracket, see that it kind of torques everything around. And it's really hard to do when you put the top on first. And then this has a hook right here that has to go in a slot right there. So make sure you get that where it needs to be. There we go. And then the bolt. Makes a big sandwich there with everything. short one up here. Almost forgot to put this audible cover back on after I put this on. Would have been a little easier before, but all you really have to do is have these loose and then it'll just slide down into place. So here we go. Where are you at? There. Of all the stuff I've done to this thing, probably the most appreciated by me are these magic mirrors. And I know I talk about them every time I do something, but it just makes life so much easier. And each one of these clips, the OEM clips, if you break one, it's 20 bucks. So spend the $100 and get magic mirrors. It just makes life simple. Same way with this side. Got our air filter cover back on. Let's see. So we're gonna go in here. There's a cutout, see? And then we're just gonna sneak it in behind. Oh, geez. There. After my trip here, I'm going to be pulling off the OEM GPS mount, and I'm going to pull out the whole harness over there just to make life easier, or make it clean it up, because I got this new GPS. I just don't want to take the time to do it right now, even though I probably should, because half the work's done right now, getting stuff out of the way. On this one, we have these two tabs that go right in behind that one. And then fish around and find these rubber grommets, which I struggle with most of the time. And always have a light finger on your drill if you're using an impact driver like I do, till you know you're started in there without cross threading these things, because that's kind of a pain in the butt. Not that I'm talking from experience, but I sure might be. So this access cover is how you check your antifreeze, right? Here's your reservoir. What I found is you simply, because you can't really tell, because the cold line is right at that seam, stick your flashlight on the reservoir and then just peek down under here, and you can see my fluid level is right at the seam, which you can't see from the top. So that's just an easy way to check your antifreeze level on your pre-trip inspections. Come on, Chris. Okay, I'm going to take it for a little rip, come back and check the oil. So maybe I'll take you along. You can't pull off these ramps because you'll end up with this stuck under your frame. And here we go. I did use some of that really good Velcro that's a double hook stuff made by Scotch, I think, and put my little keychain garage door remote in there. I'll be back with you when we're out on the highway. Well, I did not do the whatever procedure for buds with the Hcm filter change, and literally no issues. Shifted right up through the gears, shifted right into reverse when I left, into first. No problems at all. I'm going to run it about 9 miles out to the state park here and back, and we'll go back and check the oil, see where we're at, and double check for leaks one more time. Okay, we'll check this oil. I just shut it off. We're gonna check her. And it's at the minimum, so I'm gonna add a half a quart. So it's gonna be right at where they said it was, about 5.9 quarts, because it's got 5.0 half, so it's not quite. Not quite 5.5 was in it. That. Okay, here we go. Check it again. Now we are right at the top of the M, so I'll just put a little more and call it good. All right, well, hopefully if you've been wanting to do your HCM and couldn't find a video that, or your fuel filter, that this helped you. And appreciate you watching, and wherever you end up traveling, ride safe. Have a good day. Bye.